Some naysayers tried to tell us that the Switch party was over. Some naysayers tried to tell us that cracks in the armor were beginning to spread. Some naysayers tried to tell us that the Switch has reached its capacity, but guess what? It hasn't. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce, and this is darn impressive. This is just absolute staying power, and this shows that Nintendo has dominated this generation like no other. And their plan for the future is very intriguing, and somehow, some way, after all of this, the best is in 2023. So hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Let me know your take in the comments down below. What I'm talking about here is back in October, there was a concern because the PlayStation 5 one-upped Nintendo Switch in Japan. Okay, it was around the week of October 24th to October 30th, right before Spooky Halloween. There was a little scare that the PlayStation 5 one-upped the Switch by about 2,000 units. Okay, it sold 39,000, and the Switch sold like 37,000, 36,000, something like that. And it was a very close call, but the PS5 beat it. Well, since then, it's been nothing but the opposite. And we just got our latest data from Famitsu, and we see that last week, the Switch sold over 150,000 units, and the PlayStation 5 is still doing well, but sold about 50,000 units. So that's 3 times multiplier. The week before, it was even a larger gap, thanks to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And for the entire last month, the Switch has pushed, in Japan alone, which is not a huge country, in Japan alone, has pushed over 514,000 units. That's very impressive, and the OLED is leading the charge, probably thanks to some of the awesome bundles with Splatoon 3 and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. But just break this down for a second, okay? It was March 2017, and we were like, whoa, a Switch, it can do both. This is sort of cool. Gimmicks are great. Nintendo did it with the Wii. They didn't do it with the Wii U. Can they do it with the Switch? And they released a great Zelda, and they released a great Mario, and they released a bunch of really impressive games, and then they packed it in with Pokemon. They brought over Mario Kart, and it was like, wow, this is doing well. 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and we're still here. We're still here dominating, we're still here destroying sales charts, and we're still here with staying power. And we're here despite Nintendo having massive performance issues, having major port problems, only being able to put some of the biggest third-party games on the system because of the cloud. The cloud. And we know that's just not the way to go. It's great that we have Resident Evil Village technically on Switch, and Control technically on Switch, and Hitman technically on Switch, but it's the cloud. And then other third-party games just haven't shown up. Stuff like Dying Light 2 and Midnight Suns, just where are they? Mysteriously, they just vanished. Promised, but vanished. Now, that's not to say that every game has had struggles. Plenty have came out and done wonderful in terms of their performance and brought bright, brilliant visuals to the system. But what's interesting here is that despite all of that, a massive power gap, Nintendo has navigated this brilliantly. And what is the reason? Well, it's not even because of the portability, it's because of the lineup. The lineup has been killer from top to bottom, and when you deliver absolute gems in your most popular, prominent global franchises, it's very hard to lose. Now, no slight against games like Super Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2, which were amazing, but the Wii did not have the first-party power of the Switch. And then you remove the 3DS and the DS from the equation, you combine it to one, and as you can see, this system isn't going anywhere. Nintendo has talked about a 10-year life cycle for the Switch, and they could absolutely hit it. So the question is today, will they change? We're clearly in need of a more powerful system. We clearly would like that. As the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X release impressive games with brilliant visuals, and Nintendo has Pokemon windmill problems, it's time. But at the same time, is it time? Because this system continues to power forward. They put out a big new Pokemon. It is going to be an insane seller. It broke all records and literally doubled the sales of PlayStation's best-selling exclusive launch ever in half the time. God of War Ragnarok did 5 million units in a week, which was like, oh my god, Sony was up there giving a standing ovation to the team at Santa Monica. And believe you me, the game is fantastic. Pokemon had the power to drop 10 million units in 3 days. There's no need for Nintendo to release a new system when the best is yet to come next year. Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. It could be twice as good as Breath of the Wild. if we look at the gains they made, right, when they brought Breath of the Wild into the fray, the open world, and that was their first attempt. Now they've had 6 years to get it perfected. And if they're able to bring in some of the best parts of previous Zeldas, like dedicated dungeons and awesome puzzles, memorable boss battles, what does this become, if not, once again, the best, biggest Zelda ever? You now have, instead of 0 Switch out there, you have 120 million, 130 million Switch out there, and that's a lot of potential buyers, and many of them want Zelda. Now, I also believe that this launch is the perfect place to release the new system, because what other game are you going to have that has as big of a momentum shift, right? Metroid Prime 4 is going to be due out maybe late next year if we're super lucky, but probably 2024. And that game, while exciting, does not have the same power as a Zelda title to launch a new system. And I'm not talking about a Switch 2. Let's be clear. I don't believe Switch 2 is coming for a long time. I think that will last the 10 years, but I'm talking about a Switch Pro. And at this point, maybe Nintendo never really does go away from the Switch. Maybe it's just constant iterations and half steps building upon this system that clearly continues to sell 6 years in without slowing down. Even after it shows cracks in the armor, it comes back. It's not dead. It's not going anywhere. It is not doomed. It is thriving. I don't know that they ever turn away from this dual pillar idea of portable and home console combined. Will they add more power? Yes, but 2023 has a massive Fire Emblem. Doesn't need a ton of power for that. Frankly, Breath of the Wild did amazing on the Switch, so maybe they don't need any power for Tears of the Kingdom. And if they drop a new Mario game, whether it be Mario Odyssey 2 or a 2D Mario to match the stylings of the movie, I mean, they have a chance to rewrite the record books again in year 7. We could be getting the best Zelda, the best Mario, the best 2D Mario, and it would be in year 7. Which isn't too crazy because many systems hit their stride around 5, 6, 7, and that's what we're seeing with Nintendo Switch. I mean, performance, bugs, and glitches and problems aside, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet shows how you evolve from Let's Go to Sword and Shield to Scarlet and Violet. And remember that Zelda and Mario haven't had that opportunity. They haven't had those iterations, so whether or not we get a Switch iteration on the hardware front, we're getting a Zelda iteration. We're getting a Mario iteration. So when you see 150,000 units sold in Japan this past week, when you see 500,000 pushed in the last month, when you see numbers much higher in the United States and Europe for the holiday season, just wait. Just wait. I know there's a critical mass point at some level, but we haven't hit it yet. And there's plenty of people that do want to upgrade to the OLED model. There's plenty of people that want to get a light for someone else in their family. Remember, Nintendo's plans and goals the past couple of years have been multiplying the systems amongst households. Not one per household, but multiplying. That was part of the big purpose of the Switch Lite. It's a multiplayer system. It's a family system. But it's an everything system. That's why Hollow Knight Silksong is coming in 2023. That's why we don't know everything else. I mean, they could drop an Animal Crossing spinoff. They could finally bring the Donkey Kong game that we've heard rumored forever. 2023 is poised to be Nintendo's best, biggest year ever, primarily because we know there's going to be a Mario game in 2023 to go along with this incredible looking movie that has impressed the heck out of audiences everywhere. We know there's going to be the big, bold, heavily awaited Zelda. We know there's a brand new Fire Emblem, which is a powerful franchise, especially for the handheld component of this Switch audience, and we don't know much else. There's an entire calendar year where Nintendo loves to release things, probably a Pokemon game in there, some third-party deals, who knows what else. The point of this is Nintendo Switch is thriving and the best is yet to come. So what do you do about a new system? You do or you don't. Honestly, the Switch will have the best is yet to come no matter what they do. When the Switch introduced the Switch Lite, it only increased their value. When the Switch introduced the OLED, it seemed odd, but then people realized this is the best way to play. So if Nintendo introduces the Switch Pro next year, it will not throw this off. It will not start a new course. It will not alter the successful direction that Nintendo has been heading for 6 straight years. No, it will only provide more options, more opportunity, and more cash flow for a company that's absolutely killing it, despite having the most underpowered hardware in the entire scene. So that, my friends, is the success of Nintendo in this generation. That is how they turned a gimmicky, lucky run with the Wii that did achieve mass market success and Good Morning America fame into a gamer system that has sustainable success for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. They could do a Switch Pro. They could not, and everything will still trend up. The biggest, bestest year is right in front of us, and barring some cataclysmic failure, which I just do not predict out of Miyamoto, Aonuma, and the rest of Furukawa's crew, we got Pikmin 4. We got another Kirby game. This is insane, and I am just blown away by what they've been able to achieve, and I feel like, despite Pokemon Scarlet and Violet being my favorite Pokemon of all time, I feel like this year was a slower year. I feel like last year was a slower year. I feel like the pandemic has put the clamps on Nintendo's development speed and release frequency, and now maybe next year, here come the games. Here comes the wave that we've been waiting for the past couple of years. Here comes Zelda, Mario, Pikmin, Fire Emblem, Kirby, Metroid, Animal Crossing, and more. Directs back on schedule. Indies like Hollow Knight Silksong. Third parties who absolutely want a piece of this 120 million unit audience and maybe have a little extra power to make it purr better. Borderlands 3 is coming. Old games, new games alike. Is the Switch maybe the best system ever? It's something we'll have to start talking about soon, because this has been an insane 6-year run and it's not slowing down. It just isn't. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, everybody. Love you lots. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. How can you not be when you're a Switch owner? Love you guys a lot. Appreciate you so much. SwitchForce. For years and years, goodness gracious, we picked a good console to attach our channel to. SwitchForce. Out, but not really ever out, because it's in. It's in. SwitchForce in.